From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another podcast with Conversation with Trent and Friends. Hey, we've been off a few weeks here, man. About 3-4 weeks. We haven't done one in about 3 or 4 weeks live, that is. But actually, you could always catch us on B2G TV. Better TV together. That's Taylor Kennedy and the Beautiful Butterfly Evolution together. Better TV together. On your Roku stick, on your Fire Stick, on your TV. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about what do the lonely do. But before we do that, I want to thank the good folks of St. Louis, Missouri, as well as Illinois, and actually a couple of churches we actually visited over there with Cubs Giving Hands with Lanya and myself, giving out those baskets and turkey dinners to all those good folks over there, courtesy of Cubs Giving Hands. Over at Faith Deliverance Worship Center, Pastor Joseph Paul. The address over there, actually, if you still can get some gift baskets over there. I'm not there anymore, but the baskets are there. Faith Deliverance Worship Center, Pastor Joseph Paul. Address is 2822 Platonic Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. Again, if you still haven't gotten your basket or your dinner, you can actually still get it from over at Faith Deliverance over in St. Louis. 2822 Platonic Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. Good stuff. Let's bring Coach D in here for a second. One sec. Coach D.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good. I can't call him. I spoil it. It's been kind of busy, man. We had a busy few weeks here, traveling and getting some things done and all that stuff. How are you?
I'm good. Same thing here. Just busy trying to get things done, projects done. Xavier off with dad, and it's crazy.
Gotcha. Crazy sometimes good, though. Crazy is good sometimes.
Yep, indeed.
Good stuff. We're waiting on Shann here to pull up there as always. She's late, but she'll be popping in more than sure. So let's talk about what do the lonely do. So I actually had that topic come about. I was browsing, my usual on social media. Ran across a post, right? Mm-hmm. Hold on 1 second while I bring this tardy slip here. 1 sec. Your Highness, are you ready, Your Highness?
I think so. I was having some computer difficulties.
I got you. It's all good.
Hey,
so
Martine.
As I was...
She's got a new name. Is that Queen Kibby? Wait, Queen Kibibi?
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, yes.
Good stuff. So we were talking about what do the lonely do. So I was browsing through social media. And thanks to the folks, before I get into the topic again, thanks to St. Louis and Illinois for the warm hospitality. Always with Kobe and I, we go over, and all the beautiful people that actually got the gift basket that Lanya and I put together and assembled. They still can get those gift baskets over at Faith Deliverance Memory Center. I'm sorry. So it's still available. You guys can get that over at Platonic Avenue in St. Louis, but they're still available. Well, we love to be to become partners with you guys, and we appreciate the partnership, and glad you guys are doing a great service for the community. So that's good stuff. All right, good. Let's talk about what do the lonely do. Again, I was walking, up and down these internet streets and came across a post, right? Talking about a few things here. 1 second. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. You ladies talk to me yourself while I get this thing going here.
Yeah, we have a Facebook user on. I was actually responding in the comments, but thank you, Martine, for the update. So Kabibi, thank you. I'm not sure who the Facebook user is. If you can let us know your name, but welcome.
Good stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. So let's get down to the topic here. So the topic read, well, actually, the thing I read was quite interesting. I want to get down to the trauma of it all. The right attention from the wrong person during a lonely time can fool you into thinking they might be the one. So that comes with the topic. What do the lonely do? What should the lonely do? And sometimes I've been on that side of that where I've made some crazy decisions when I'm lonely. The wrong one have ended up in my bed off of a lonely, being alone.
Of all places, huh?
Of all places,
They
I've had that happen to me.
They couldn't have ended up at a dinner table or something.
Well, it started off with dinner, but ended up in the bed. So, I mean, that was a lonely decision I've made. In my past, I've had a couple of, road kills and all that good stuff. But that was off of a bad decision for being lonely.
But were you lonely or were you feeling alone?
That's a great question, Dee. A little bit of both. I want to say a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, ill and alone? What do you mean by ill? What is that? What do you mean by that?
No, was he feeling alone or feeling lonely?
A little bit. For me, it was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
For me, it's a little bit of both. For me, it was a little bit of both. And that was a horrible decision. We have to know, when we're dealing in these lonely spaces, that's the biggest motivator for bad decisions. The biggest motivator for bad decisions is loneliness, in my opinion. Go ahead.
So what's the difference, Coach D, between feeling alone and actually being lonely?
You can feel alone in a room full of people if you're not peaceful and content with yourself. So feeling lonely is very different, because feeling lonely is like you exist on your own. There's no one else around you. Feeling alone, it can be like you can be surrounded by people, but you're not getting connection.
Exactly. For me, it was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both. Honestly, it was. So on that, being, feeling lonely and, being alone, I made some horrible decisions. And, over the years, I would always think like, damn, once I had them and got them there, I felt icky after it was done. But I never understood why I felt that way. And I was actually speaking with a gentleman actually over in St. Louis when he was having he said, man, I was feeling so lonely when I was doing those things. I said, you know what? I was too. He said, well, why do you think so? I said, because you wasn't supposed to be there. You wasn't supposed to be doing that. That was a very horrible decision. And it made so much sense to him after I said it. It's like, you weren't supposed to be there, man. So it's okay, like for men, and I can only speak for the men here. Like when you're in a situation like that, then you allow a woman into your space, knowing you have no intentions on being with that woman. So that you feel a little nasty and a little dirty. It's normal. Men do feel that way sometimes.
But that's ego. Bringing somebody into a space even though they shouldn't be there because you feel lonely.
I agree. I agree. I agree with that.
Because if you feel content and peaceful when you're alone, loneliness rarely comes up because you're getting your connection and your different relationships with the different things you're doing. So not everybody is meant to be with somebody. Society thinks that we're all supposed to be all paired up and happy ever after.
One more time for the people in the back who don't hear you. One more time.
Yeah, what society says we're supposed to be doing in relationships and what people actually should be doing in relationships are two very different things.
Good stuff. Look like we got a couple of comments there.
Yeah, Martine says she doesn't feel alone. She says, I don't feel lonely. I'm just by myself. Since I'm by myself, I dance and sing and write and write. And today, she says, and today I went and had an early dinner solo, a drink from Starbucks too. Kudos on the Starbucks. She says she doesn't feel alone either.
Mm-hmm.
So then does that mean that you're just peaceful and content with being with yourself then?
When you've done a lot of work and you're peaceful and content with yourself, the feeling of loneliness doesn't really show up as much.
Absolutely.
The feeling for wanting connection will show up, but the loneliness thing is different, because loneliness has a discontent portion to it. There's a void missing within yourself, is why you're looking outside yourself for that feeling of completion, that what I need is somewhere else.
So I found that post quite interesting, because I've actually been there within that type of post, man, where I'm in a whole new world, whole different situation with the wrong person.
That's why it's so important to heal after relationships.
Exactly.
Like, some people will change. I've said this many times. They will change partners instead of changing themselves.
Exactly, and that was my problem. So I wake up like, damn, what am I doing here? I'm in a whole new situation, but I didn't want to be with her. I was in a whole new situation. I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I've been down that road. You're looking across the table, somebody like, what was I thinking?
I spoke in Memphis many years ago, and I talked about after the sweat dry. We make decisions after the sweat dry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I made a ton of decisions after the sweat dry. Like, damn, this is horrible, but I'm stuck.
It happens a lot in high adrenaline jobs, where your life's on the line all the time, because it's quick decisions, because you never know what, like, are you going to be coming back from that mission? Are you coming home that day? So a lot of bad decisions are made of jumping into things that you shouldn't jump into, because there's that fear of death, and people don't want to die alone.
So Martine says she says she stays busy, and yes, Coach D, I miss my people and the closeness.
Mm-hmm. That's why we have to get out and do different things.
That's true.
And Martine, you're still studying for that exam, right? Middle of December, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Martine, she says, let me get the certification, then I'll explore a little more.
Martine, I don't know what I put you into with Dee, because she is a stickler. She's going to ask those questions.
Well, I'm going to text her later anyway. I was supposed to text her earlier today, but I was running behind.
Good stuff.
So when we look at relationships, society says that you're supposed to do this by this age, you're supposed to do this by this age, and then by the time you're this age, you're supposed to be 40 years in and happy and blah, 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 blah. Life doesn't work that way, because people don't work that way. People like to think that we're above all the other creatures on the earth, but we're primal mammals. We just speak in a language. And
I also want to distinguish the two between, if you could help us, Dee, with this, distinguish the two between healthy and non-healthy loneliness, because there is a such thing as a healthy and non-healthy loneliness.
So, how about I do healthy and unhealthy relationships? Because loneliness, when you start going to unhealthy, it starts going to mental health. And I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not going to dwell. That's more going into therapy.
Gotcha.
Right. So and you know me, I'm very stickly about not going far over that thing.
Gotcha.
What I tell people, if you are at the point where your loneliness causes you to seek out unhealthy relationships, then that's when you need to figure out why you are where you're at. That's a mirror conversation that needs to be had. That what are you doing that you could be doing differently, where you could not feel as lonely, so that you're not seeking out unhealthy relationships and you can find healthy relationships or bonds.
Exactly. Now let me twist this up for you for a second. Now, what if the situation isn't a toxic situation, but you definitely don't need to be there? So there are situations we find ourselves in, they're not toxic, but sometimes you're in the right space with the wrong person.
Well, if it's the wrong person, it's the wrong person. It doesn't have to be toxic or unhealthy. It's just not a match for you. And not everybody's your person.
One more time, people in the back.
Oh, not everybody is your person.
Good stuff.
Because Like I'm a romantic. I love Harlequin movies. Christmas is my favorite time because all the cheesy, chappy movies come out, even though they all have the exact same storyline. But I love them. And
ladies and gentlemen, as Mark and I always say, we sit on a panel with the Disney purchasers. They just love and romantic. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so when I talk to people, people think that what those Harlequin romance shows is real life.
Right.
Like the chances that you're going to leave the big city and go to your hometown and fall in love with some mysterious stranger are slim to none in a 3-week period.
Right.
So because healthy relationships take time for that bond to create, right? An unhealthy relationship, if you fall in love immediately and they're love bombing you and you think they're the perfect person, there's something going on because it's too quick. Like the whole love at first sight. Yeah, okay. Love at first sight is a little different because there may be a connection, but that love bombing and the not getting to know each other, usually in the long run, doesn't always work out statistically.
Right. But most people, and honestly, a ton of adults, I've done it as well. When you're talking about love bombing and all that stuff, some lack of sex and good sex. Well, you thinking it's good sex, but it was really the lack of sex. You just got some. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just got some. That's not love. That's not love. You just got some. But it's the lack of. Then when you get it, oh, this is great. Not really.
Especially if you come from a trauma background or an abusive background. So if you come out of an abusive relationship and you're with somebody who tells you you're no good, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, you find this person who tells you you're beautiful, you're brilliant, and just layers on the compliments constantly, you're going to fall for that person like quickly. Because, and I'll tell you why. People think victims have a broken picker, they pick the wrong person. It's actually the opposite. Abusers pick their victim.
Dig a little deeper. So
how it works is abusers pick their victim because their abusers will pick who they think they can be able to control or who would be a conquest for them to be able to control. So they'll pick people that either, one, are extremely strong or have been in an abusive relationship before. That's why I tell people when I'm talking to them, don't tell somebody that you're just getting to know that you've been in an abusive relationship. Don't give that information out right away until you know who that person is. Because if that person is somebody who is looking for a victim, they will do everything they can to get you now. Because they know they will be able to use the trauma bond.
Give you that representative.
Yeah.
Exactly. They come in the form of some church Bibles and everything else.
Oh, listen.
Bibles and all that good
we
stuff.
don't want you getting talk about church and trauma and relationships because that's a whole other show.
They put the Lord on you in a minute. The Lord said.
Listen,
I'm
man.
just
I
saying.
know more single mothers who've been set up at the top of the.
I'm just saying. You know how the church folks go. And church, they say.
We need to have a show about religion. About church.
We should. We would have definitely have some fun with that.
Definitely
have some fun with that. But yes, I just wanted to, differentiate the two because there's nothing wrong with being in a lonely space because there's some upsides to being lonely. You'll be able to reflect better and take your inward mirror and deal with yourself better when you're in a lonely space. So there's nothing wrong with being alone, away from a whole bunch of things. You get to deal with yourself.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the best way to deal with yourself is when you're by yourself.
And some people may be alone for the very first time in their lives, and that's why they're feeling lonely because they've never been alone. Right. So they don't know what that feels like. So it may take time for them to realize it's a bit.
Can we read the comments?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yo, I didn't want to interrupt. So, am I lagging?
Not to me. I mean, it's feeding.
Okay. So Martine and hey Mark, thanks for joining us. Mark tuned in. So Martine says she does want to have a lovely man to finish out life with, together, giving and sharing and enjoying one another with ease. She also says she doesn't want to waste time with people, especially on the romantic tip that she doesn't enjoy, that she doesn't enjoy anymore. And she said, when we talked about the whole thing about sex, she said sex can just be a soul connection because the genitals and genitalia connect and folks get things twisted.
Yeah, but go ahead.
She did say that people will be upset with a conversation on or about religion. So then we definitely need to do it.
Exactly. Well, this is why we'll agree to disagree on the sex and the soul. Is Martine, are you saying that you're tying the soul into the actual act of sex? It's two totally different things, in my opinion. The soul has nothing to do with the sex, with the act, in my opinion.
Or maybe she's referring to what we're sometimes considered soul ties.
Okay.
I know, but let us know. But tell us your definition, Mr. Epic.
As far as penetration is penetration, and as far as souls and soul ties, to me that's two totally different things. We're talking about penetration, and you're dealing with someone's soul. In order for me to deal with your soul has to deal with me, and we'll know we're spiritually connected. We'll know. So that has nothing to do with the physical at all. I've been connected to a ton of women physically, didn't feel nothing for them, and vice versa.
No.
There you go.
This we know.
There you
go. I think that's a very sex in America is it goes back to the Puritans and religion. You guys are not really as free with your bodies as in the rest of the world. Look at all the school dress codes, like where girls can't wear spaghetti straps because boys might be distracted. Right. Like, hello, like in the rest of the world, that's ridiculous.
Right.
But I mean, to a certain extent, men are distracted by some aspects of females on display. They are distracted, and we know they're distracted. That's why
not some of them, a whole bunch of them.
A whole bunch of them are because men are visual creatures, right? And a lot of women, we try to make sure that we appeal to their visual needs as well. So they are distracted. Absolutely, I definitely believe they are distracted by a female physical.
Right. I share something with you guys.
Probably raise our boys better than because there's absolutely no reason that a spaghetti strap should distract somebody from doing algebra.
I totally agree.
We sexualize.
I'm not necessarily specifically spaghetti straps. I think it's more so a certain amount of flesh or skin showing. No, and I mean, I get it in high schools because boys have raging hormones, girls have raging hormones too. But to say that the opposite sex isn't distracted by how women present themselves physically to them, I mean, that's to me that I don't agree with. I mean, I can go at any given moment going out in the city downtown. There's a whole bunch of women walking around here with fake asses and titties and all kind of stuff because they know men are distracted by that. Men have lost. What do y'all say? Houses, cars, bank accounts, and stuff over what a woman looks like sometimes. I'm just.
In my opinion, I'm agreeing with you. And in my opinion, that is an average man. I'm always writing about the average man.
Right.
And you guys are probably gonna be surprised when I say this. You guys probably gonna be surprised when I say this, but to me, a woman that's very revealing, that's a turnoff for me. I've said that a ton of times on this podcast and over the years.
All the women were all in turtlenecks and clothed down with pants and covering up everything that were what did you say? Knocked down. You knocked down. What did you say you did to them? I'm just asking, is that how they were clothed and dressed?
It doesn't matter, but it really doesn't matter what women wear.
I didn't get the question. What's the question?
Yeah. You said it's a turn off. So I'm saying, were they all dressed like with turtlenecks and everything?
Honestly, I've never been attracted to a woman that's very revealing. I look over it, honestly. I put that on Nana and Greg. I'll look over that in a minute. I've always done that. Like that, like if you're shaking for the entire club, listen, if you're shaking for the entire club, what makes me want you? What makes me want you? If you're shaking this and you're bending over for the entire club, why do I want that?
Americans are such prudes.
Thank you.
We are prudes. We really are. Now, I will agree with you on that. We are very prudish. Wait a minute. Hold on. Marty says, when two people hook up sexually, there are a false sense of soul ties, mainly because lots of guys just
false sense, keyword.
want and are able to get their rocks off. All right. And then Mark said, like the job, religion and politics conversation is a slippery slope. Yeah, but we're going to go down that slippery slope. And he says, many women on the internet say they don't purchase accessories for men. They dress to impress for self. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it depends. I like a lot of these younger girls that I see where everybody's out going to get all this stuff done and altering themselves. I don't necessarily know is just because they have such a great sense of themselves and they just want to be happy with them, so to speak, make themselves happy. So I know.
Yeah, it's trying to fit in what the societal aesthetic is currently.
I agree.
So right now, currently, it's like even now the Botox lips are going away. So pretty soon you'll see the no lips coming back. The BBLs are still out there; those are still making money.
I'll be in style.
Yeah. But Kim K got rid of hers, so watch what happens. It'll slowly filter down. But
let's
go ahead.
Yeah, let's get down to the common causes of loneliness. The common causes. One, I'll start off with number one, the death of a close friend or family member. Number two, physical isolation, such as living alone or moving away from family and friends. Number three, disability or illness. Number four, retirement. Now, I could actually pick several from this list. This is where I was coming up from this road. I can tell you right now, death from a close friend or family member, physical isolation, that was me. Living alone and moving away, that was me. California, Michigan, Detroit, all these other different places. Just isolating myself from everyone. Illness and disability. Here's the crazy thing, right? When this happened to me with this condition, I became so much better because I already had acquired those tools years past before. So that's why I was able to walk through this different ability and still live my life through this different ability. I already acquired the tools, but the things that I'm pointing out to, I was doing that way before I became ill. That's very dangerous. Dee?
Yeah. And we forget there's loneliness from kids leaving. Empty nest syndrome's a big one.
Right.
And like ends of relationships. So like emotional, it could be social, where you're excluded from different groups, you're not out doing different things, and then there's emotional loneliness where that's where the grieving and loss of children and loss of all this other stuff comes in. So it's, it depends on what's going on. Like you'll have like cases of chronic loneliness where you have like people will like hermits who will especially isolate themselves, and it's loneliness is interesting and because as a species we're very social creatures. So when people choose not to be social, a lot of time people will say something's wrong with them if they don't want to be around people.
These days, I wouldn't say nothing's wrong with folks who choose to stand on the outside looking in.
Well,
in these days and times.
Yeah, post-pandemic, it's a little different than
exactly.
Pre-COVID. Yeah, because I think we a lot of, not everybody, but a lot of people have taken the time when we're working from home, going to school from home, to do some introspective work.
That's right.
And what is really mattering? Like, is doing 20 activities after school a big deal? Like, do we want to shuttle every day 6 different things? And a lot of people have taken back and said, you know what, maybe we don't want to do all that. And so some people may look at that, if they still want to be on the go constantly, as somebody isolating themselves. But
so I actually recommend isolation, but the only way I would recommend that to folks as far as isolation, you have to know exactly what you're getting to, because you have to face yourself. But once you isolate yourself and you work on yourself, trust me, there is a higher level of yourself you're gonna love. You're gonna be at a higher level. Go ahead.
I do what's called I go to what's called a float room, and it's a sensory deprivation complete. It's complete blackness, no sound, and you're floating in salt water, and my brain gets like a complete reboot.
Right.
So you come out there, you're like feel fresh. But if you are claustrophobic or unable to be alone, that 60 minutes can seem like a lifetime.
Right. Right.
And they actually warn you about it. It's interesting that being alone is a good thing. Like, I would recommend everybody do like a 3-day silent meditation retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no tech, and it's like probably one of the very few times where you are with yourself with absolutely no distractions.
Let me break this down. I'm glad you're going there. I'm very glad that you're going there, Dee. When you're talking about isolating yourself, right? When I first became ill, I isolated myself from my family. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks thought I was losing my mind, but I did that to save myself. Mm-hmm. I could have easily come home. Could have easily come home, but I had to isolate myself because at that time, none of my brothers that was left was good for my soul. Mm-hmm. So I had to deal with myself first and isolate myself to become a better person and a higher person of myself. So there's nothing wrong with isolation. And if you could deal with that stillness, I would recommend it. For folks going through it, making bad decisions when you're in a lonely space, sometimes you got to separate yourself from everyone. That way you won't make no bad decision at all. You won't be dealing with anyone. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Right. So Mark said, loneliness is an unpleasant emotional response to perceived isolation. Loneliness is described as social pain, a psychological mechanism which motivates individuals to seek social connections. He had a question. He says, Princess Coach D, like Darius on Atlanta, showed on the last episode.
Never seen
sure do you know what he's referring to? Okay, you'll need to let us know what you're referring to. Martine says she says, I live alone and I'm away from my immediate family and my little tiny group of friends and buddies. She says, I'm thankful that I don't feel alone. She says, maybe because I've had to balance myself a certain way ever since I'd had that type of work schedule, since she's had that type of work schedule for several years.
Right. I find that, I'll be honest with you guys, I'll be transparent here tonight. The closest people to me these days are you two on the screen, Kobe, Lanye, and a couple more, and that's about it for me. Mm-hmm. I live a great life. What is that?
I like how you threw Kobe in there.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the video with the interview I did on Lanya and Kobe sitting on the sofa? He's nice and relaxed. So I told Lanya, I said, if I was at home, if I was at home, Kobe would be all over the damn studio. He's sitting there like he's a well-trained dog, not making no moves, no nothing. Just embarrassing.
He's a well-trained dog. When he's home, he's not on his claw.
Yes, he is. He's very well-trained. As long as he wants to listen to you. As long as you're the person he wants to listen and take commands from. But no, I saw the post. I didn't see the video, but I did see your post.
Yeah, check him out. He stayed that still for like 10, 20 minutes. He stays still. He is. But yeah, so that's I don't see anything wrong with isolating yourself, and sometimes to get to the better decisions, sometimes you got to make people, hey man, stay over there. Let me deal with me first before I even come out there dealing with you.
As long as it's a healthy isolation.
I agree.
Like if you're going up into the mountains for a year and you're not talking to anybody except for yourself, and there's like you start having hallucinations and you're eating much. That might
Do
not
you know
be
how long? Do you know how
Did she
long?
say a year?
Yeah, she said a year. But that's not a year is not too far fetched for me because I was a hot mess. I had a whole bunch of stuff I needed to deal with, man, and I had to separate myself for a long time because I was a mess. I was the problem.
And a lot of times we just don't see it until we actually take a break and take a look at ourselves.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're right. Wait, Mark's, he said, Miss Charlie Angel, do you not watch Atlanta? Don't you? Yeah, but I don't watch that show. Yeah, sorry. You have to get. Yeah,
what is it? What type of show is it?
Atlanta?
I mean, I know what it is. I've never watched it, so I wasn't. I honestly, I just wasn't interested in watching it. But yeah, it's a popular show.
Was it a reality show or something?
No, it's not a reality show.
No.
I might have been watching it then. It had been a reality show. I will say this, off subject though, From Scratch, the one you recommended to me. Oh my God, on Netflix, the series.
Oh, it's off the chain. It's off the chain.
I know.
I cried like 6 times through that movie, man. Honestly, it was a good movie, a real good movie, That's good stuff. So yeah, let's get down to the.
You said you may start Johnny Depping being in isolation for a year. Did something happen with Johnny Depp?
I don't know.
Did he go in isolation and something happened with him? I don't know. You'll have to catch us up to speed on that, right?
But honestly, Shannon, if you remember, think about it. That's exactly what I did. It was over a year before I even saw my brothers again. I didn't see them during that time.
Yeah, but
you mean after you, while you were going, when you initially got you had your injury? Okay.
Right. I didn't see my brothers. I didn't see any of them. I didn't see my family at all.
But we have to remember that staying away from unhealthy relationships is not necessarily considered isolation.
One more time for the people in the back didn't hear it.
Staying away from unhealthy relationships is not really isolation. That's just self-care.
Yeah, I was about to say that's necessary.
Yeah, I guarantee. We just had Thanksgiving. How many people were surrounded by people they have unhealthy relationships with who probably shouldn't have been in rooms that they were in?
Right. That's good stuff.
Don't have to call me out like that, Dee.
That's funny. So did you guys do any cooking? I know Shannon, I know you did. Did you do any cooking or something like that?
I didn't actually because I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving in November. Right. I'm Canadian. I celebrate in October.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's true. That's right.
Well, for Canadians, what is Thanksgiving? I mean, what is Thanksgiving in Canada?
It's literally a harvest festival. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have that whole fake story with the pilgrims.
Right. Well, I don't celebrate it either. But
yeah, we don't got that.
Yeah, I don't celebrate it either. But I don't rain on other people's parade or whatever. But like I was over in I was over in St. Louis, and Lanya was doing some good stuff, some wonderful stuff. I was like, hey, I don't really get down with all that. She said, I know, but I'm not gonna force it on you. So we had a nice, pleasant dinner.
No pig feet, no chitlins.
I know we didn't have no hog maws. We didn't have no hog maws and all that stuff. I'd have to say, Lanya is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How do you call that? Who's hosting things? What do you call them?
Hostess.
Yeah.
She makes sure that, and she goes so far over the top where all my food be different from everyone else. I say, Lanya, you gonna make these people kill me? Because she's like, no, you're gonna eat like you eat at home. This is how you're gonna eat. So no hog.
Did she bake some chicken and make some steamed California vegetable medley?
Whatever. California. Blended California. California
blended. Yes.
That'll be California.
That's what a proper hostess would do. If there's special diets, she would ensure the special
diets. Yeah, so I mean she makes sure that I don't get the bad stuff and all that stuff. Meanwhile, she's wolfing down the hog maws and I'm only teasing because she's watching. No, it's cool. It's all good. That was all good. Yeah. So you guys
Mark was saying real ones can cry. I get based on you crying through the movie.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Real men have emotions.
Yeah.
That's
a good show topic.
Hold on a second. I know y'all was gonna start. Dee, did you see her face, Shannon, when she said that to Mark? She's really picking when she said it.
I'm not picking at nobody.
You said real men have what?
She just made a statement.
Yeah, that's it.
Of course you're gonna agree with it.
I was actually trying to read the comments.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Like, so we so get caught up, like, especially now with the holidays. This is when like peak loneliness and feeling alone comes up, because everybody's posting all these happy pictures on Facebook,
Right,
or Instagram or TikTok with all these big happy families. And sure, the pictures look great, but you don't know what's going on behind them.
You know the pictures I hate the most are those dirty ass pajamas. They dressed alike.
What's wrong?
I do not like everything. Like, I even hate dressing alike. Like, that is so. It's irritating to me.
I'll make sure to post many pictures of me and Zay in our matching PJs.
Well, that's your kid, but I mean, all these grown people, pajama parties, dressed alike, red, everybody all red.
You sound like a old man.
You are so unfestive. Okay, yeah. Scrooge.
That's cute. We're gonna have to disagree with you there. But yeah, so the holidays is when all these people, everybody's having parties, is when some people feel the most alone. Because if they, especially if they've just moved to a new area, they've just got a new job somewhere, and they don't have community connections.
Right.
Like, I tell people, if you know somebody who you know is new, like, reach out.
Right.
Like,
that's the kind.
Even if it's just like for a movie or popcorn, or to bake some cookies together or something, just so that if there's somebody out there that needs some help. Yeah.
But before you do that, reach out to the folks who really want to be invited to those things.
Yeah.
Do not knock on my door because you don't see no one else with me, please.
Yeah, Martine's comment's very true.
What she said?
Says they say that suicide rates are highest around Christmas and Valentine's Day. I can definitely,
especially in Detroit. Like, you know what's so funny when we talk about? I was so surprised when I lived in Michigan, right? In Detroit, it was the highest suicide rate. I'm talking about the highest. I was like, wow, really? Like, yeah, especially around the winter months. The highest. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Did they say why? Like, why? What was?
I mean, it was just a whole thing for Detroit, man. It was huge. Like, people offing themselves real bad.
Well, with
huge depression,
especially in those areas, like with because we have the same phenomenon in Canada, because there is so much snow, people can't get out as much either.
Right.
So if you're lacking connection, and then on top of that, you can't get out physically.
I can recall, man, on snow days over in Michigan, like, you could be snowed in for a week. Like, literally, the snow's not going to be plowed. Like, we lived in a private community. They plowed our stuff, but couldn't get out because they couldn't get to us to plow the driveway in the walkway. Literally. It was bad, real bad.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you, I never thought about offing myself. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but if you combine like loneliness, seasonal depression because there's a lack of light, add in poverty or job loss or death, and you're looking at all the things somebody needs to, like, start making a plan for their final decision.
Right. Yeah, that's a serious thing. I'll be a little more transparent here. When I was going through, the divorce and separation, the separation first, from Morgan, and I was living in that big ass house by myself. I went through leaders of Kettle One, so technically I was kind of off of myself. Leaders of Kettle One on a weekly basis, snowed in, all that craziness, man. So I was in a depressed state. I was definitely in a depressed state. All that snow, can't move, can't do anything. Yeah. It was a crazy time.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you need help, call 988 and reach out, and somebody will talk to you and see what help they can get for you.
Absolutely. Good stuff, D. Good stuff. Any more comments, Shannon?
So, no, you've gone right through the break, so it's already 46 after the hour. So now would be a good time to go ahead and break, and then we come back.
Well, actually, I want to take this time. Didn't want to run a commercial. Actually, tell the folks about your holiday special you got going on.
We can. Oh yes, tomorrow. Cyber Monday is tomorrow. So so for Tabs Edible Creations, we're doing 15%. I'm sorry, my dog is over there. I don't know what kind of noise that is that Butters is making. But for Cyber Monday, it's 15% off all orders placed and paid for tomorrow. Right on tomorrow. So
how can they contact you?
Yeah. They can either on Facebook or IG at Tops and Bottoms Edible Creations or at tabsediblecreations.com.
Good stuff.
And did I mention that my dog is in heat? Like I don't know what to do with this. That like
you need to be sending her this way. Kobe is ready. Kobe is ready.
I was not ready for this. I felt like when my daughters came to that age, when I was like, I wasn't ready for this. This just happened all out of the blue.
You two need to sort yourselves out.
Yeah, Kobe's ready. Kobe has his shots. Everything's good with him. Everything's he has a actual insurance plan. He's good. Just bring on through.
He got a job to take care of these puppies.
They're gonna be looking at me to get her some dog food and all that, but we'll make something.
Puppy child support.
Yeah,
right. Yes. Right. Hey, Alvin. Hey, Gentle Giant. Welcome. Well, since we're not going to do a commercial, I say here's a good point in time to give since we talked about loneliness and what should the lonely do, some tips to cope with or manage through feelings, the loneliness feelings and state. So what do you got? What do the professionals recommend here?
So a lot of things has to do with reaching out. So first you have to understand what loneliness is, so you can face your inner critic and figure out why you feel the way you do. Then you can think different ways you can connect to people. Like especially now you can connect socially. On Zoom, you can connect wirelessly, like the Clubhouse app, where you can have conversations about just about anything with anybody. Sometimes reaching out to help others can help with dealing with loneliness, like going out and maybe working at a food bank or feeding the homeless or something like that.
Right. I want to reiterate that loneliness is not really bad. So I don't want folks to go off and think that, there's this thing where you have to distinguish between the two as far as healthy and not healthy. But the fact that it is really healthy to sit in a degree of it. It's really good to sit in a degree of it. So you can sit in it and you self-reflect and you can move forward that way. Right. But it has to be healthy in a degree of it. Not a whole bunch of it to where you just, killing yourself with it. But no, it's great to sit in some of it sometimes. It's great to be alone sometimes.
So, but there's a difference, right, between the actual loneliness, that feeling of loneliness, and then being alone, which just sounds like what I'm hearing you describe now, Trent, where you're actually taking opportunity to physically isolate yourself to be alone.
Yeah. Exactly. And the only reason, and I don't recommend this for people who don't have the tools to actually get to that point, but for me, I had the tools to be able to, like when I did this, when I became paralyzed and blind. I had the tools to do it. At that point, I had the tools. But before that, if I was that hot mess in Michigan, like I was telling you guys before.
Feel terrible when they're unable to hang or get out of the house. And she asked, is that why there's so many people on the internet? Because they're trying to connect with others. I think that could have a lot to do with it as well.
That has a lot to do with it.
That sounds like it could be like an extrovert introvert thing as well. So exactly. Extroverts get recharged when they're out with people. So a lot of extroverts during COVID were miserable because they couldn't get out and socialize. Whereas introverts who recharge when they're alone were like in heaven. Like, man, I don't got to go out and party and talk to anybody. I can just go on a video and then leave when I'm done. And
but the key to it is actually recognizing which is lonely and when you need it and you don't need it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to it, knowing and recognizing. And like I said, I think my mic cut out for a minute, but if you don't have the tools to get to your higher self, talk to someone. Just like Dee say, reach out to someone.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. So don't try and tackle that by yourself. The only reason I was able to tackle that by myself because I had already acquired the tools to tackle it. So I'm not no Superman here because I was a hot mess going through Leaders of Kettle One in Michigan years before. So that's how I coped with it. But I was only able to get past that other hump because I had acquired the tools already.
Yeah. Like you can be alone and peaceful. You can be alone and happy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Where you don't need another person in your space. But
Absolutely.
That's very different than the feeling of loneliness where you don't have that physical connection to other people, where you don't have that social interaction.
But the positive side to that, folks, that when you actually have peace within yourself and you finally reach that, you at that higher level, the elevation of yourself, that is so rewarding. I'm a witness to that. It is so rewarding when you finally have that peace where you cannot be disruptive. No one can come into your vortex and disturb it at all. Your whirlwind is your whirlwind. Peaceful whirlwind,
So,
that is.
Well, Alvin, I'm not going to, what do you mean by that? Being lonely is your peace? You mean being alone, or do you actually mean being lonely?
Who asked that question?
Your brother. He
Oh.
made a statement.
Okay. He was asking Dee or asking?
No, he stated being lonely, that's my peace. That's what he's put on the.
Oh, that's what he said. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, is that what he actually means, or does he mean like being physically alone is his peace, or if he does mean being lonely, if he can maybe just elaborate on that a little bit more.
I think I know what he means, but I'm gonna let him answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what?
So
I think. Go ahead.
Martine says she took a part-time gig during COVID and didn't get her certification. She says, I decided to keep the part-time employment. And she says, I'm around others and get to laugh and chat while making a few bucks. So there.
Yep. I think we lost it. Yeah.
No, she's back.
You lost me.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like they keep going in and out.
But you know, as long as you're reaching out and you have connection with other people, that can help block some feeling of loneliness.
Right.
Like, especially now when most of us are like, my closest family member that I talk to is in Canada, is like 1,500 miles away. But
Right.
thanks to like videos and stuff, you can still be connected with them.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. But let's kind of sum it up, and let's get us like almost 5 to the hour. We talk about making bad decisions in that lonely state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's just be honest. Like for me, when I was making my horrible decisions, I didn't know I was making horrible decisions. I was just going strictly off my emotion. This is what I felt. This is what I was going with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, nobody's sitting on a high judges panel and all that stuff. So we all gonna make mistakes. Still make mistakes till this day.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, if you're lonely, they may not be Mr. or Mrs. Right just because you're seeking connection, and they're the ones in the spot at the moment to give you that connection.
one more time. I love that. One more time.
I hate repeating myself. So they may not be Mr. or Mrs. Right because you're seeking connection and they're giving you that connection.
Exactly.
Right? It could be the right person at the wrong time.
Exactly.
And not everybody.
Now, if you're going in it and with the temporary thing, hey, it's just temporary. It's just temporary. But if you're gonna do that with that person, it's temporary. Let that person know that it's temporary. Hey, don't get too comfortable because I'll change my mind next week.
And sex can just be sex. There's nothing attached to it.
There you go.
That's allowed.
There you go. We're all adults here. I mean, we're all over. Well, Shannon like to say her age. Indeed, they don't talk about their age, but I'm 52. So it is what it is. Like, hey, if this is, what'd you say now?
Good for you.
Yeah, Shannon thinks she's still a spring chicken.
I'm 51, but I have a 9-year-old, so I can lie most of the time. People will believe me.
That's funny. So if you actually making those bad decisions, make that decision before the sweat dry, and it'd be better off. I'm telling you, trust me.
That's why I like winter. All my gray hair is covered, so I just leave my hair down. You don't see the gray.
Right. And for the ladies, that'll actually X out the stalkers. If he thought he had something in you and it's only for a temporary situation for you.
Yeah, watch out for the whole. Well, cuffing season's in full blow now. All the homosexuals should have homes. So they should be all right.
Hey, we're supposed to do that. What'd you say?
I said it's cuffing season we're in the heart of cuffing season now, so all the homosexuals should have homes now.
That's true. Hey, Shannon, we were supposed to do that, right? I think we've been off like maybe 3-4 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
we were supposed to do that one.
On cuffing season? Oh, okay. Oh, you were supposed to see if you could get someone who's an actual homosexual.
I'm going to call the guy that I know. I'm going to call him.
Marty says she doesn't need an F buddy. She's been there before and it's not cool. Okay, we got you. You don't want temporary. We still on the lookout for you, Martine.
That's right. Martine's going to be out networking soon with all that real estate stuff, so she can find some.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Now, hey, I have one that actually will come on. He would actually come on. He's a great friend of mine, but he's not like homeless by a long shot. He's just an over the road truck driver who actually lives in his truck, going out from state to state making money. So, but actually, I think Shann, I introduced you to my buddy before, over in Mexico.
Oh, yes. But he doesn't qualify. We're looking for, not based on what you guys said. We need a real.
But he would give the dirt that you guys are looking for. He would give it up. He would definitely give it up.
We need someone who's like really in the act of like, I need a place to stay and I had to pick, I had to get me somebody. That's what we looking for.
They don't have to be on camera. They can keep their camera off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on the other guy. What'd you say?
We know you know people.
I know a few people. I know
people.
Not at all.
So Mark says, hasn't Miss Charlie Angel been posting about cuffing season? How's that going for you? I don't know what you mean by I've been posting about cuffing season. I'm not cuffing anybody.
You had a couple of risque posts there, though. You really have. You've been kind of quiet on it.
Okay, what I think people need to understand is social. Just because somebody posts something does not mean that's their real life stuff. Sometimes stuff can just be funny. I'm just spread humor to the rest of.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the guys who's always asking about her, trust me, she's not that chick. I'm telling you. She's a baker. She loves to bake. She like.
Wait. Who's always asking about me though? No,
that's what I was going to say.
You know I'm a hater. I'm not giving up no information on neither of you. I'm not doing that. None for you, none for you.
Sir, you need to be
none for you, none for you. What'd you say?
You heard me.
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
You need to stop being a cock blocker.
Well, hey, you know what? And you know what? I'm not gonna even say nothing to that because, hey, guess what? We're on our own platform. We could say exactly what we want to say. It's uncensored. B2G TV, better TV together. That's Butterfly Evolution, Taylor Kennedy Media combined. B2G TV. So go ahead, you say it. I'm not gonna even hate on that one. Go ahead. B2GTV.com. It's a spot where you can actually catch Shannon and her baking goods, and you can catch Coach D with the meditation, all that good stuff. But I'm not. I guess I am a cock blocker. I'm stopping these guys from doing this. So.
Anyway, if they were really smart, they see commercials, and I'm giving my pages out. So.
Or email me, and I'll tell
you. You can circumvent Mr. Epic. Believe me.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
We can work around you.
It's
y'all gonna work on it. See how that works for you. Go around.
I It's on the hour, and I'm sure Coach D has a young child to tend to, and I have a week worth of work that is I've got to get back to tomorrow early in the morning. So it's been lovely.
It has. It's back to the gym for me. Kobe and I have been traveling. So Kobe and I thank the good folks of Illinois as well as St. Louis for their warm hospitality, and it was good stuff over there. I'm glad I could be of service to you guys and bring out these dinners and these gift baskets, all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoy all the stuff that Lanya and I put together. So it's good stuff, real good stuff. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys again soon. I think next month. Kobe and I'll be back over next month doing the same thing over again.
Sounds good.
All right.
So
You guys
real
have a
men
great
have
night.
emotions next week or Wednesday?
Hey, y'all want to do this hobo thing?
Are you gonna find somebody for Wednesday?
I could try, but what would you guys? If you guys come up with something else, we could roll with that.
I already did.
We can do religion on Wednesday.
What was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
I think
can you
we should
remind
talk about men and their emotions.
That's it.
Given
Okay.
all
Do that. Real men
all
and
the violence
emotions. Yeah.
perpetrated by men in the United States, we should talk about men and their emotions.
I'm all good with that.
I like that.
Sounds good. It's a plan.
I say bring some emotional men on.
Actually, Brother Ramiel hit me up for a guy that he over in Atlanta. He wanted to introduce to the platform, so I might give him a call, reach out.
They'll be emotional by the time we're done. By the time I'm done. Let me be specific.
I'm gonna pop me some popcorn and I'm gonna let Coach D work.
There it is. You want to close us out, Shannon?
Wait, call Michael and have him come on. I like when Michael's on.
I could do that. I'll do that. Sounds good to me. I could do that. I think Shannon's frozen again. Are you there, Shannon?
I know I'm lagging. I gotta go. My internet's acting wonky. So have a great night.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Good stuff.
Bye. Love you all.
Right.
That'd be better. All right, folks, you guys be epic. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.